Hello, my friend. In this video, I'm going to fully break down Buy Me a Coffee's fees, kind of go over the entire pricing so that you know exactly what you're getting into if you want to be accepting donations or tips or anything like that for your art or your content. So let's dive right into this. So Buy Me a Coffee has no monthly fees and it's completely free to sign up and get started. However, there is a 5% cut of anything you earn on Buy Me a Coffee, which is paid to Buy Me a Coffee. In addition to this, there's also standard payment processing fees, which are paid out to their payment processing provider. Buy Me a Coffee uses Stripe to handle all payment processing fees and all the credit card data, and Stripe takes an additional 2.9% cut and a 30-cent flat rate for each transaction that occurs on Buy Me a Coffee. So with Buy Me a Coffee, you do have the choice of choosing between your supporter paying that extra payment processing fee or for that payment processing fee to be taken from the amount that you're meant to receive. So we'll dive a little bit more into what this looks like in a moment. Before we continue, I did want to let you know that I've written an article on this topic, as you can see right here. So if you'd like to follow along, or if you simply prefer the written word format, you can Google Buy Me a Coffee fees, Best Friends Club, and you'll get access to this article for free. So with that said, let's dive right back into it. So although Buy Me a Coffee is free to sign up for and get started, any creator planning on using Buy Me a Coffee will need to pay a 5% transaction fee and any payment processing fees for anything that you do earn on Buy Me a Coffee. So there's no monthly fee to use Buy Me a Coffee, which means that you never have to pay these fees directly, and instead will have these fees automatically deducted from any transaction that you get on Buy Me a Coffee. So just like anything, like any other Patreon alternative, a bunch of these are very similar. It's free to create a Buy Me a Coffee account, and you only give a cut to them when you're actually making money, which is nice. The fees to use Buy Me a Coffee can be easily divided up into two main categories. The first is Buy Me a Coffee's transaction fees, which is that 5% cut of anything you earn on Buy Me a Coffee that is paid out to Buy Me a Coffee. The second is the payment processing fees, and this is a 2.9% cut, as well as a 30% flat rate for each transaction that is paid to Buy Me a Coffee's payment provider, which is Stripe. So again, when setting up your Buy Me a Coffee account, you can have the choice of choosing between your supporter paying extra or for that fee to be taken out. So if you set up your coffees on Buy Me a Coffee to be $5, you can set it up so that the supporter will press $5, and then they'll also be charged an additional 3% on top of that. So it'd be something like $6 or $7 or so. Whatever it is, my math is probably bad, but it would be a higher amount to the end supporter. The alternative to this is that your supporter will press $5 and they'll only pay $5, but you'll have that 2.9% removed from what you actually receive. So it'll be more like about, what is that, like 8% taken away from the final donation if you would like to pay the extra payment processing fee on your end. So that's kind of what that looks like there. In addition to that, if you're offering anything in return for a donation, this kind of goes without saying, but I do want to mention it anyways. You should also keep in mind that you'll have to pay for any costs associated with actually delivering on whatever you're going to be offering to your Buy Me a Coffee supporters there. So things like cameras, video editing, merch, anything needed to create content or deliver content you'll have to pay for. But one nice thing about Buy Me a Coffee is that it's not necessary. You can use it as a tip jar to accept donations and tips for things that you're already creating. So with that said, what does getting paid with Buy Me a Coffee, what does that actually look like? So when someone donates to you on Buy Me a Coffee, you instantly get paid with a direct transfer to your Stripe or bank account. And the emphasis there is on instant. It happens quite quickly. So the amount you get paid will be the donation amount that they actually put in, minus Buy Me a Coffee's 5% fee, and any payment processing or banking fees, which is usually technically it's about 3%, and that does depend on if you are going to pay it out of your cut or if you want your supporters to pay extra for that. Your supporters are able to pay for their donation with all major credit cards, in addition to things like Apple Pay and Google Pay. All credit card data and all the payment processing is handled by Stripe, who has a PCI compliance level 1, and Buy Me a Coffee runs on Amazon infrastructure with Cloudflare security. So all this to say is really bat in hand with the fact that they've been around since 2018. They've been around for quite a while. Now makes Buy Me a Coffee safe to use for anyone that wants to sign up as a creator or wants to sign up to support a creator. if you're looking for a completely free alternative to Buy Me a Coffee, you might want to look into something called Ko-fi. Ko-fi creator accounts are free to set up, and they take a 0% platform fee or transaction kind of fee on any one-off donations that come your way. What is Ko-fi, you might be wondering? Both Buy Me a Coffee and Ko-fi are the same in the way that they can be viewed as an online tip jar, where supporters can give donations to creators like you for what you're already creating without asking for too much in return for that donation. In addition to this, with Ko-fi, you can actually go beyond that kind of online tip jar approach by offering memberships, shop purchases, and commission sales. However, you should know that Ko-fi will take a 5% cut on the income you earn from any membership, shop purchase, or commission sale transaction. With that said, you can also have that 5% removed as well if you subscribe to Ko-fi Gold, which is $6 per month. Gives you a bunch of other stuff like analytics as well. And if that sounds interesting, if you kind of like landed on this video to learn about fees because you want to have as little fees as possible, you're going to want to have a look at Ko-fi for sure. Because if you want to pay less and offer a bit more, then Ko-fi is likely better for you. However, if you don't want your supporters to have to create an account at all to donate to you, then I think that Buy Me a Coffee is likely the platform for you. If you want to learn a little bit more about these two different platforms, you can have a look right here at this video. They're quite similar and they have similar names, which can be confusing. But I think at the end of the day, my favorite thing about Buy Me a Coffee is the fact that the supporters don't need to create a Buy Me a Coffee account to donate to you, which is really nice. It's super simple. With that said, if you want to look into a more premium alternative to Buy Me a Coffee, then you might want to look at something like Patreon, because with Patreon you can have multiple membership tiers, and there's a few more ways that you can offer things to your supporters. This is something that I'd recommend if you want to have a bit more serious of an approach here, because the main difference between Buy Me a Coffee and Patreon is that Patreon focuses on recurring memberships, while Buy Me a Coffee focuses on offering a very simple way for supporters to donate or make a purchase with a lot less commitment. And I think less commitment is kind of the main thing here. So although Patreon may seem appealing since you can offer more, you should know that this focus on recurring memberships makes it ideal for creators that have a specific and ongoing projects, like releasing videos or content on a regular basis. Patreon is a lot less laid back than Buy Me a Coffee, and you will need to commit to offering more content and more value for all of your different membership tiers, while Buy Me a Coffee has a much more laid back focus on offering a very simple way for your supporters to say thank you and show support by donating without having to commit to a monthly membership, asking you to commit to monthly frequent content, or even having to sign up for an account at all. If you want to learn a little bit more about this, I'll have a video above that compares Buy Me a Coffee with Patreon, because also after comparing them, you may even find that you may want to use Patreon for more serious recurring memberships, and then complement that Patreon page with something like Buy Me a Coffee for one-off donations and shop purchases. With that said, on this article here, there's a couple of other things you can check out. I have an article on Patreon alternatives and how you can pick the right membership platforms if you want to dive even deeper, as well as a few other things you could check out as well. In addition to that, this article also goes into what to do after you've picked a platform, because regardless of which thing you set up, if you do set up Buy Me a Coffee, you're cool with those fees and all the features that you get, the main thing that you're going to have to do next is actually learn how to get supporters and build an audience that wants to support you. Because if you don't have an audience outside of Buy Me a Coffee or Ko-fi or Patreon or any of these things, then no one's going to actually be around to press that button and give you a coffee or support you, donate, tip you in any way. So that's why I've dedicated the rest of this article to diving into how you can do that and all the next steps. If you're going down the membership route, also has effective ways of how you can build really effective membership tiers. Just an all-around pretty sweet resource for you to check out if you would like to go a little bit deeper on this whole world of memberships and donation platforms and all that kind of stuff. But with that said, that is a pretty sweet little overview of Buy Me a Coffee's fees. It's pretty generous. I think 5% is one of the lower ends. I believe that Patreon, like the main Patreon tier there for you as a creator, would be the Patreon Pro level, which takes about 8%, so it's a little bit higher. Ko-fi is 0%, so that's something to have a look at too if you want to take a look at these two different things. But generally, that's how it works. They're about 5 to 10% of a platform transaction or creator fee, and then there's always those standard payment processing fees. Most of these companies are using Stripe, so across the board, you'll kind of notice that it's going to be that like weird 2.9% and 30% flat fee, some kind of variation of that, because most of these people are using Stripe to handle all the payment processing. With that said, that's a pretty sweet little overview, like I mentioned. If you found this video useful, like and subscribe and all that good stuff. Otherwise, good luck on setting up your Buy Me a Coffee page, your Ko-fi page, your Patreon page, whatever you choose to use. I hope you crush it, and I'll see you in the next video, my friend. Have a good one.